Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. This is my third take on this. I had a couple issues with sound, so hopefully this works out. Hopefully everyone is not distracted by these huge headphones on my head. It's the only way I can get the sound to record, unfortunately. So today, this presentation will be surrounding my final project topic, which is social emotional learning. The acronym is SEL in schools, promoting mental health, empathy, and positive behavior in our education systems. This is not based off of a previous assignment or work I've done. I started this research and this work in this class this semester, specifically about a month and a half ago. So it is not a previous work. Just wanted to clarify that. During my previous time recording this, I went well over 10 minutes, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. However, we will be exploring just everything to do with the final project in terms of the research question, the topic, type of paper, how I'm planning on building on the existing research, the research design and methodology, and just taking a deeper dive at what this final project will entail. Okay, so I have a little fun fact. Well, it's fun to me. But did you know that students participating in SEL programs show an 11% improvement in academic performance and a 10% decrease in emotional stress? So I found that amazing. So just wanted to share that with you folks. What is SEL? So SEL is the process of acquiring and utilizing knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are necessary for comprehending and regulating our emotions. In the last few decades, we've seen that SEL programs have become popular within classroom settings. And so this presentation will just explore and examine SEL as a powerful tool for ensuring students are able to make positive decisions through mental health promotion and empathy construction. The central research question of my final project is in schools, what methods can be used to enhance the implementation of social emotional learning programs and instill mental health focus, empathy, and other positive behavior? And so, in today's society, a question like this is so important because we see a rise in regards to mental health supports needed right now in society, right? We see a lack of emotional regulation amongst not just students or children, but adults as well, right? We see depression and anxieties on an all-time high. And so imagine if these things were taught how to manage our emotions, how to express empathy. All of these things were taught to us at a younger age. How do we manage relationships and manage difficult situations and how to navigate and respond to difficult situations, right? And so it demonstrates how SEL can enhance a student's future growth, right? And so this will provide a comprehensive critique of the strategies used to implement SEL programs in our education system today. And so the type of paper is a discussion paper that I have been working on for the last month and a half, sorry. And the purpose is to engage in a critical assessment of SEL programs through literature reviews, right? So I guess it'd be a literature review discussion paper. The approach is to look at the strengths and weaknesses of SEL practice through the lens of different stakeholders. So that can include principals, teachers, policymakers, all of that. So why a discussion paper? It just offers a thorough analysis of what SEL is capable of, and it will also allow me to explore the shortcomings of implementing it, right? And so it also encourages a nuanced debate and promotes an argument that seeks to just truly unpack, right, specific issues pertaining to implementing SEL programs within our education system today. All right, so how I'll build on the current research that's already been done in regarding SEL implementation in our education system. So this will be done through literature reviews, right? So I'll be synthesizing findings on scholarly peer-reviewed journals around the impact of SEL implementation on classrooms from kindergarten to grade 12. I'll be identifying the gaps, right? Exploring what are the issues that need to be explored more, and ensuring that cultural sensitivity is at the center of this exploration in terms of implementing SEL programs in our education system. Another thing is looking into the manner in which SEL is incorporated within the varying contexts of education. I don't want to just focus on a regular everyday classroom, right? And so looking at a variety of contexts of education, systems of education, the way education can be received, whether it's outside of the classroom in homeschooling, whether it's also in, I've been exploring education also in detention centers, trying not to get too broad and too all over the place, trying to center it back. But there's so many educational, different contexts of education. And so just looking at that, a unique focus will be placed on policy and practice and how SEL fits into overall educational policies and practices, and as well as addressing real world challenges, right? And the challenges in education today. What are the worries regarding mental health today, anxiety, depression, and behavior issues? I've already discussed the type of paper and the approach. And so, in terms of the search procedure, a lot of the keywords that I've been using and will continue to use moving forward when looking for these scholarly sources include social emotional learning, mental health, empathy, student behavior. And in order to keep my information relevant, I've been just limiting all the scholarly journals that I find to studies that have been published within the last 10 years, and just trying to research kindergarten to grade 12 programs in a variety of educational settings, like I said when we were going through the previous slide. And so, in terms of data coding and analysis, just been organizing the findings thematically under mental health, empathy, and behavior so that I'm not jumping back and forth. And then, in terms of trends, gaps, and inconsistencies, just ensuring they're outlined in respect to existing literature so that I don't have any information in there that is not accurate. Theoretical frameworks. So the key theories that will be supporting my analysis include Castle's five competencies, which include self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making, which many adults struggle with today too. It's so funny as the more I do research, I'm like, huh, I could see why we need this in today's classrooms, because if only like we had it in our classrooms and or we're truly focused on it, I think, I don't know, society would be a better place. But not trying to get off topic. Constructivist theories. So these theories emphasize on the use of student-centered and integrated approaches. Rationale for using these frameworks, my rationale, just that they fit appropriately on the specific objectives in terms of implementing SEL in our education systems. And they will allow for further and deeper exploration. Sorry. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. So, the key discussion points in this final project will be SEL as a preventative approach, with teaching students at a young age how to self-regulate their emotions, how to manage their emotions, right? And still deal with them, but knowing how to express them in a healthy way, how to manage them, navigate them, has been shown to reduce anxiety, depression, and stress among students. A lot of the case studies and the journals I've been using as research have been showing the significant positive change in the mental health of young children, of teenagers as well, due to SEL programming. And then, of course, just ensuring that SEL truly being implemented in a healthy and culturally responsive way is also providing a nurturing school environment for all those who take part in these programs. All right, so some more key discussion points is how SEL fosters inclusivity, how it opens up our eyes in terms of cultural awareness, right? How do we develop cultural competence, right? How do we encourage bias reduction and and encourage a feeling of belongingness among students, right? And then, of course, empathy building activities that will be implemented and to truly ensure that these positive changes take place for every learner, not just one, but every learner. So a lot of the research that I've done thus far has been showing that through SEL implementation, there have been behavioral improvements, leadership and teamwork improvements, and the long-term benefits of just relationship management and just being able to ensure future education and social interaction success. Like that is so important. How many adults struggle with these things today, right? Like we see it. We've all been in a situation where we've been around people who can't handle their emotions and we're sitting there like, whoa. So, right? And we're like, whoa, we are not at the age where we should be responding like this. So definitely, how important is it? And imagine if students were taught these type of coping skills and how to navigate and deal with their emotions and express them in healthy ways at such a young age. I I am running out of time. I don't want to go too much over. So for critiques and challenges, I'll just pick out some key points. So insufficient teacher training. Most educators are not trained when it comes to implementing SEL programming. And so in order for this to take place and for SEL programming to be implemented within the classroom, teachers will have to be trained, limited funding. It costs money to implement these programs, to get these teachers trained. And so many schools do not actually have the funding for this. And so culturally responsive SEL programs, definitely another huge one because, okay, yes, you're implementing these programs, but one of the most important things about it is that it's safe for everyone, right? All these programs that are being implemented need to be culturally sensitive to all students, not a few, not the majority, but all. Policy implications and recommendations. Can we have mandatory SEL integration? What if when educators are in teachers college, they must take a mandatory SEL integration course, right? How do we ensure that K to 12 institutions amongst Ontario, amongst Canada, worldwide even, maybe I'm going far-fetched, but how do we ensure that everybody's being trained on SEL integration? And what does that mean for our society if we ever got to this point? Increase funding, because in order for us to implement this, educators must be trained on this. And so there would have to be an increase in funding. Recommendations, comprehensive teacher training as discussed, and family and community collaboration. I'm Caribbean and African, and an old African proverb that we have is it takes a village to raise a child. And so, how do we get the community involved in this? Parents, guardians, coaches. How do we get them to collaborate in terms of bringing SEL into the everyday life of our learners, right? I know I'm running out of time. I ran out of time, definitely. So future directions, cultural responsiveness. So developing new research and new practices regarding the formation of SEL frameworks and the social aspects of various student groups. And for longitudinal studies, just evaluating the sustainability of integrating SEL programs in our schools and their academic and social effects on the students. We want this to be something that is implemented in our classrooms forever, right? We don't want it to be a short-term thing. We want it to be a long-term thing. And so how do we ensure that we don't just bring it in, but that we maintain SEL integration in our everyday education classrooms and our education system? I know I'm definitely running out of time. I ran out of time. And so, uh, the call to action for this final project is that schools and policymakers, they must prioritize SEL as a cornerstone of education to foster the holistic development of students, and that they must, allocate funding for increased research for this, investment and collaboration just across stakeholders, principals, policymakers, teachers, just, for to maximize the SEL potential in the classrooms. We look at society today, and a lot of scary things are happening in the world today. And sometimes it just starts in the classroom, right? These changes that we think are so far-fetched. Sometimes it just starts in the classroom. When we look at bullying, when we look at racism, when we look at a lot of issues that we are going through, when we look at mental health and the needs and at an all-time high, when we look at these things, there might be something that we can do when children are just younger, when we implement SEL that will help them navigate life's and society's pressures. So here are just some of the resources I've used thus far, and there may be more added to this list. And thank you so much for bearing with me. I know I'm over time. I've recorded this like 4 times, so I'm not going to record it again. Hopefully, if you can't watch the whole thing, you get the gist of what my final project is about. And thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback.